Hello once again, folks. It's Monday. No, it's not. It's Tuesday. Binatone 5-star. I think it's the 19th today, and we'll go with that. So it's got the remains of his advertising splash across the top. It's got the remains of some glue. Now he knows that this is the rough case, but he wanted a Binatone 5-star anyway. And I'll tell you something else. It hasn't got a front escutcheon, has it? That's missing. And you know something else? I don't know what the knobs do. So, I'm going to have to now find a picture of one online and take a photo of it, and then I'll know what the knobs do. Right. Mark, my friend Mark, who I worked with for many years at Nottingham Radio, was here over the weekend, staying the weekend for 4 or 5 days. And whilst he was here, he did his sticker thing. So he went through 38 sets, 2 are base stations, 33 of them are mobiles, 3 of them were illegal AM sets, so they go straight in the scrap bin. And then I took a photo of the top shelf, so that's our current to-do stuff. And we've got a Fidelity 2000, which is just like this with no escutcheons. There's a Fidelity 2001 there, and there's a Fidelity 1000 there, just to make things. Let's just get that such that the. I'll tell you what, if we zoom in, it might auto do the exposure better. And where I can see it, it looks lousy. Better if I had a CRT monitor that I could actually see. So I can see we've got a Barracuda HP 940, Binatone Route 66, don't know which version it's going to be, 3 DNT M40s, looks like a Beaver Midland at the top, and a CPT Maxon MX1000. Something. Oh, he's a Kerner Beta 1100 Maxcom 4E. Yeah. Oh, Comtron 40. I bought that one off eBay. It's a Maxcom 16E. Amstrad 900 and Amstrad 901. A Harvard good buddy. He doesn't know. There's a nice red stick on there. He doesn't know whether that's going to be doable. Barracuda 940. I think that's a G-Col 858. Audio line 340. Mustang 1000. There's some to go. Looks like a. It's either a Signal 1001. Oh yeah, I tell you, I bought this as well off eBay. Mustang 3000. It's one of my favourite sets, is the Mustang 3000. So that's good, isn't it? We've got Mustang 1000, Mustang 3000. That's another GT868. I think it's an Academy 702. So some I've bought and some have been given us. So it's all really good content. And once again, people who've sent set in, it's good content, and thank you. So, that's some forthcoming attractions. I'm going to open this up first. So you'll probably appreciate, if you've been watching my videos, that I do see this as probably the best Cybernet 134 base set there is. It usually outperforms the others, but there are differences, and there are ones which surprise us from time to time. Get the bigger speaker. You know, we've had Rotel 240s that do 0.8 of a microvolt, and we've had Rotel 240s that do 0.23 of a microvolt, and we've had these that do 0.23 and 0.2 of a microvolt, but I've never had a bad one. They've always done 4 watts, and they've always done better than 0.3 of a microvolt. So I don't know whether the quality control on this part of the line was better, but that's been my experience. There was a time when, probably before I was doing this channel, when you could buy CBs for 99 pence off eBay, that you would be paying a tenner, £10 for one of these, and at that same time you'd be expected to pay £37 for a Rotel 240. But this has the bigger speaker, and this has that unique feature which I've not seen on any other set, which is internal external speaker. So you're not having to flick between internal and external speaker, because you can use the internal one, you can use the external one, and I can see an application for that. Just imagine you're using this as a base station in an office on a mezzanine level of a factory unit, and you are talking to, let's say you're using this and you're talking to forklift truck drivers, and you can have an external speaker plugged in the back of that, and you can go out to the office and you can have that speaker probably through a PA amplifier onto the shop floor, and you can just, oh, I'm going out to the office, I'll just flick it to external. It's just so, you know, for those kind of applications, I can see what a useful set. So we're having a look round while I'm telling you stories. We're having a look round. There's no dodgy looking capacitors, and there rarely are in the Cybernet sets. I've done full recaps just for a laugh, like I have with every major set. We did a full recap on a Great. We did a full recap on the Cybernet 002F chassis used in the Mustangs and the Amstrad. And I've talked about the real Amstrad, not the cheapo one. But it's only the Unidens where there seems to be capacitor issues, and we've now moved the list from changing 4 capacitors every time to changing either 6 or 7. Mr. Chippy wants all the 47 microfarad capacitors changing, because every one we've looked at recently has been very low in value, like 10. So one of those is in a voltage doubler, and you're going to end up with snags. So anyway, we'll get back to this instead of rattling on, otherwise we'll end up with a video that's too long. And let's get that connected to power. We normally have a bit of a stub power lead on here, and then I will have to go and find a photograph of one of these, won't I? Customer sent in a, I'll tell you what, we'll just connect it up my way. So we'll use the standard replacement mic. He sent in a standard replacement mic, but we'll use mine at this point. Well, there's the locating thing. There. I'm sure we can find the on and off switch. I've been working on that Mega Tracker. I think we're going to end up sending that back as far as we've got. There's a limit to what I want to do with that because of its rarity and the fact it's a double-sided printed circuit board that comes away as you look at it. Good. So let's put picture in picture on. And we'll do the first parameter. We're on channel 20 and see many watts. I'm on the 3 watt scale and see what happens. And you know what? It does 2.8 watts. Doesn't matter. Mark was saying this, there's never enough room, is there? I'm not helped by the amount of tat, but that's how it is. Channel 40, 2.9 watts. Channel 1, 2.8 watts. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll give it 2.85. Back to channel 20. It's drawing 930 milliamps. And in low power position, yeah, right. We'll come back to that. Frequency, let's go. That's about where you'd expect. 2779083. We'll do the VCO. And we'll do it right now. And resistor for channel 40 needs to be 4 volts. It's a little bit high. And it's supposed to be transmit we do first. Got 4.8 on transmit, so just a trimmer for 4. And we'll adjust the coil for 4. There we go. And then on channel 1, it's supposed to be in the 1.8 to 2.3 region. That's our receive. And on transmit, again, it's supposed to be somewhere in that region. So that's fine. After 40 years, you can expect a bit of drift. I think one of the most important sets to do this on is the Cybernet 002F chassis used in the Amstrad, etc. And that does tend to want a setup. Or do they get finger trouble? Is that what it is? I don't know. What we can find is we can find the volume control. So we'll go through the receive. We'll just plug in the test equipment into the extension speaker socket, and one thing I can tick off the list is the meter lamp. So let's see how it receives. So I'm going to set the... we were off frequency, weren't we? So I'll set the signal generator to exactly the same, so it is an accurate reading. So it's 2779083. So we'll get the signal generator to 2779083, and then we'll adjust it properly at the end. Good. Tell you what, we'll look at deviation for what it's worth. I don't know whether the test set's playing ball today. It's only deviation that plays up on this, but let's just see whether it is. We'll double check it with the test set behind me later. Wallow. Okay. It helps if we're on channel 20, which the deviation meter is set for. Just make sure we've got mic gain, RF gain. Wow, it's actually saying 2.1, which is about where you'd want it. So 2.1 looks right. But I don't have any receive. Why is that? and probably not on internal speaker. So we're going to have to go and find that photo to go any further. That's better. We see what we're doing now. I took this picture off rigpics.com and I sent them a lot of photos, and that's one of my photos. And you can always tell mine, well, not all sets which are say channel 40 on them are mine, but we can actually, you know, you can look at little scratches like there along the edge, and I can pluck the radio from stock and show you that little edge. Right, well, that's all about. Don't think I've sent them any pictures for about 8 years. Right, where were we? We were putting this into oh, shut up. We'll put this into various modes, weren't we? We can now. I'll just put them in a piece of paper that way on. Put tone to middle. Make channel 9 is in the off position. CB to CB. There's high low power, the third one. So on low power, the radio is doing 100 milliwatts. I've forgotten what that was now. I think it was 4.5 and 4.5. It's now 4 plus 4. So we need to be able to switch the speaker to external. Just like that. It's great when you know where the switch is. I noticed the firm who sell these decals, the plastic printed fronts for sets, and via eBay, they've got this Binatone 5-star. It's a shame they haven't got the Fidelity 2000 or 2001 or realistic TRC 2000. I could always send them some fronts, couldn't I, if they wanted to copy them. Right, sine nav meter on. Let's see what it's doing for receive. Go over to the sine nav meter. Well, this is working nicely before we even start. It is doing 0.43 microvolts. So I think there's going to be some room for improvement, because I've not seen one do worse than 0.3. For 10, actually it's drifting around a lot, this. Is it an earth? Oh yes, look, it's a bit of an earthy problem. For 10, it's doing 0.43 microvolts. And for 20, if it will do it, and it will, 1 microvolt. Squelch. It's 100 microvolts, just where we want it. But it will change with the tune-up. Let's see what it says on the meter. So it says it's S7, which should be 9. 9 is in fact 10 millivolts. I'm putting it in the wrong box. So while we're tilting the radio up, let's go back to transmit and see what. Let's go to high power. Hello. It says 4.5. Let's put the PA speaker in the back. Switch to PA. 1, 2, 2, 3. And it's the mic gain controls it on these. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Good, that's the end of that problem. That works. It says there's a couple of iffy switches on this, so I'll probably get Mr. Chippy to look at that. I'll see if we can clean them. Which was it? Internal, external speaker. Oh yeah. Might just be dirty. So we'll start off with that. Was something else, but I'll look at his letter. Right, I think we've got enough there. Oh, threshold for squelch. Set threshold. .79, very good, that's fine. So I think the biggest thing on this is only doing 2.8 watts. I really want it to be above 3.6. The idea is, as I said before, you're supposed to be able to tune this up to do 4.5 watts and then balance it. So the radio is really supposed to do 4.5 watts in test mode, and then you balance it and drop it to, the manual says 3.8 watts, but we allowed 4 watts, so I may as well set it for 4 watts. As I've said many times, when you're importing this kind of stuff, it's got to be well within the parameters. So they will set them for 3.8 at the factory, they'll set the deviation low on purpose so that when they're batch tested, they will pass inspection. Otherwise the whole container would be rejected. So that is why they're always set low. And that happens today. So it's an unusual thing that you're expected to have these things serviced even when they're brand new. Right, transmit. Take the picture over to the main meter. We'll go through transmit. So I'm still on the 3 watt scale, and at the moment it's still 3.8 watts, 2.8 watts, I'll get my words right, and I'll still stay on this scale for a little bit longer because it's easier to see the adjustments on this scale than the next one. So we're not only looking for the peak, we're looking for the centre of the peak, so we're not lopsided between the 40 channels. That's the centre of the peak. And that's the centre. We're actually at 3.9 watts, and of course the set's heating up, so it's actually dropping. So I'm increasing it, it's dropping. So I want the blue trimmer, and let's see whether we can get 4.4 watts. I'm going to move to the other scale now. So 4 watts is there, and we're just about at 3. This is the first coil. See whether we can bring that one up. We can. That's our peak at 3.6. Just if it won't do 4.4, we may not be able to balance it. Not quite. So I'm going to go again. And again. Never ever leave these in this service position at full whack. It's going to make no difference to your range for the extra 0.4 of a watt, and it's going to thrash the radio. This is legality aside, it will thrash the radio, and then you get melted coils, and then they can't be adjusted in the future. In fact, they probably can't be adjusted after 10 minutes. So we need to turn, we only got 4.2 watts there. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to leave it for a bit and let the transmitter cool down, because at 4.2 I wouldn't be at all surprised in a couple of minutes if it hasn't become 4.4, and then we can finish the tuning. So I'm going to jump to receive, so we're not wasting time. So with 100 microvolts on the signal generator, we'll look at that on the oscilloscope. And let's see whether that is absolutely spot on. It's the Maxon models where that really has to be checked time and time again. It's funny how different models have their different idiosyncrasies. So we're down 4 dB on the cyanide meter, so we're not saturating it, we're not saturating the receiver, because if you saturate the receiver you won't see the difference you're making. Start with the coil there. Well, that made a difference. We'll drop the signal once again with the signal generator. I'll do the next one. That's spot on. That's spot on. Let's go back to this one. I'm satisfied that's at the correct position. Now, we might need the bigger one, bigger signal for this, because we're on the IF. That's fine, no adjustment needed. No adjustment needed. Little tiny bit on that IF one. Really the only one that's made any difference is that. So now we're in a position to get a new reading. So for 12 dB we've now got 0.2, I'm going to say 0. It should be 0.275 to be honest. For 10 dB, 0.24, and for 1, for 20 it's 0.46. Made a massive difference to that one. So now we'll redo the squelch. So turn the squelch to full, and then bring the signal generator up. I'll put the attenuator on the screen so you can see that. So we're at 1 microvolt. I want it to come into 100. 3, 10, 30, 100. It's still spot on. So had it needed adjusting, it's that one. Let's do the meter though. Meter preset is there. S9. So we tick that off. microvolts. Let's see what the squelch sensitivity is now. So set this squelch on the radio to threshold. Switch the signal generator back on. I didn't do that very well. Right, try again. It's about 0.5, so there we go. Let's go back to the transmitter now. And see what it's doing. And then I'll be ready to make those final two adjustments. .2, yeah. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to turn this clockwise till it just moves, which is there. Then we're going to turn this one anti-clockwise till it just moves. Which is there. I've got 4 watts. Now, have I got 4 watts on the other channels? So I'm going to go back to channel 20. Let's look again. 4 watts. Channel 40. 3.95. Channel 1. 3.95. So I think that's a really good result. So normally they'll do 4.4 to set this properly, but on this occasion the set won't. And no, we're not going to change the output transistor just in case, or the driver transistor just in case. So if we put this on a hobby meter, this radio is probably doing 7 watts. So there we are. This is a commercial test set and it's pretty tight. Right, the meter now on channel 20 should be reading 4 watts when I key it up. So the meter is banging across now, so we'll just adjust that. Not quite right, it's 4.5 it says. So there you go. Now I'm going to have to do something else, and what I'm going to do is I get up, I will recheck the deviation. I'll tell you what though, we'll put it on frequency first, just in case the deviation meter on the test set behind is sensitive to the frequency a bit more than this. Which button shall I press? 2. Camera 2, come on, thank you. So 27 79088. It's come up a tiny bit, hasn't it? Because the instruments are warmed up. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Well, before I do the deviation, I want this preset in the right position. You've got the vertical one, and you've got it's kind of a feedy-backy thing, and then we've got the main one. So I will now have altered the way it is. So I'll just take that off, and we'll go to the test set behind me. So I'm now plugged into the Quartz Lock 282A test set. Let's see what it is. Wow, it's bang on a peak of 2.5. So chances were that the Marconi test set's reading right today, and I got 2.1, and it probably was 2.1. And I of course fiddled with the vertical preset, and that happens to have brought it exactly right. Right, so I'll come back in about an hour. Right, we'll just spray that preset because they have a tendency to go somewhat dirty. I'll look at my photograph and we'll say TX power to low, and we'll get that set for 400 milliwatts if it will. Not happy doing that. Just a case of another Duff preset. By the way, it came back to us an hour later, and it was 4.1 watt. So all these figures will be 4 watts, but as we know, the transmitter soon drops down as it generates heat. So I don't think the powers that be will be knocking at the door with the detector van for 0.1 of a watt. Right, well, now this isn't happy. I think we've got a Duff preset there. So I thought we were getting somewhere, and now we're going to have to take it apart. At least it's a genuine set and it hasn't been messed with. That's nice underneath. You know, we only get post about every 3 days here. So, you know, if you ever send us anything, we usually use what they call every these days, don't they? Used to be Hermes. I think it still is, but they don't call it that anymore. I think everybody in London was losing the parcels. But the courier in this area for Hermes, she comes to one of my churches, and she even brings parcels with her on a Sunday. That's brilliant service. The Royal Mail, the normal UK post for those people out of the country, it said it comes every 3 days. I know we're in the middle of nowhere, but it's a bit rotten. So if some people send things first class expecting it to get there quicker, well, they don't get here quicker. So you're paying extra money for a service you're not receiving. Really good. Not. Right. Just tidy that up. To get a new preset. There we go. I remember when these were 14 pence, I think about 97 pence now. First of all, just make sure it actually goes through the holes on this side before struggling on the other side. And the answer is it does. Check these screws are tight while I'm under here. That wasn't. You can end up with microphony if these aren't tight. It's not bad if you've got to only tighten the screws every 40 years. Right, let's see what it does now. That's better. And back to high power. .23 amps. So deviation was it was 2.0 to 2. I'll say 2.2, and it's now 2.2 to 2.5. So it was already okay. Now, customer was concerned about the internal external switch. So we've had the switch cleaner on that. That seems to be satisfactory. Good. I'm not sure that wire wants to be dressed like that. This is something to watch. We've got the aerial wire outside of the screen. And with a kink in it. I don't want any sharp edges on the wiring there, but that's all right. There we go. That's how it should be dressed. Oh, 4.1 watt. Right, I think we're done. I'll read his letter and then we'll just pop it on the aerial, just in case there's something I've missed. So I looked at his letter and he said he thought the volume control was a bit scratchy, so I'll just attend to that. think as we've been working on this, it's actually got better. I don't like cleaning controls willy-nilly because you're chasing out the lubricant. Right, that's the switch cleaner on the floor. Mr. Chippy says, are we doing this test tonight? I said, yes, give me 2 minutes to finish the video off. I could say he's in the driveway revving the car up, but with it being an electric car, I don't think it revs up somehow. Let's take picture in picture off. It is off. So I wonder how long that's been off. Right, test equipment off, aerial in, and as I say on every video, and I still get people asking questions, Antron 99, Solarcon 99, without the ground plane kit, mounted gutter level just above the gutter, in fact, on a single story building with an apex roof, and it's broadside into that apex roof, hardly peeps up above it. Above it, I can't even speak. I haven't put the screws in this side. We'll just put one in because time's now of an essence. And let's hope the internal speaker works. When I find which switch it is. That one. Yep. Good. So I'll have a flick round. And of course, that'll be Nottingham, 35 miles away, not on 4 watts. I think he's about 10 miles away, that chap we were hearing just there. Right, I think we'll go to the Mega Chippy channel. There's no point going 19 Roger. If I go 19 Roger, it's not going to do much, is it? We'll check that's at full, dimmer works. So, switches, tone, channel 9, PA, TX power, internal, external, and Delta tune. Thanks for watching the Binatone 5-star, and they're always a 5-star performer.